because I know I need to do that. I absolutely know I do. So.
You're Carol McLeod, and you are the bucket lady, the bucket filling lady.
I am. I got that name from children. They actually started to call me that first. They said, "Are you the bucket lady?" And I said, "I guess I am." So now it sort of is a name that has stuck with me. Because I talk about buckets.
So what do you say when you talk to kids about bucket filling? What is it that you talk about?
Well, we talk about the fact that everyone has an invisible bucket, and that when we are nice to someone, we fill their bucket, but when we're mean to someone or ignore someone, we dip in their bucket, and we want to be bucket fillers. The nicest thing about being a bucket filler is when you do something kind for someone else and fill their bucket, like you're being kind to me right now, just putting me on the blog for parents, that's very kind. That is filling my bucket, but hopefully it's filling your bucket too, which is what usually happens. When you help someone else, the benefit is it always comes back to you. So bucket fillers not only make others happy, they feel happy in the process.
So rather than being sort of a step-by-step approach to behavior and management and character education, bucket filling would be a philosophical sort of a way to live your life.
It is a way to live your life. It applies whether you're 2 years old or whether you're 58 years old like me. The concept is the same. It's simple enough for a 2-year-old to understand, but it's actually very profound because your bucket actually represents your mental and your emotional health. And that becomes your self-concept. So truly, we all want to go through our life with a full bucket. And our bucket is affected by the words and actions of others. So we teach a concept that is so simple to understand, but actually even affects adults in the fact that we all deal with issues in life that dip in our bucket. People dip in our buckets when they say or do mean things. Life dips in our bucket. Losses in life, job loss, deaths, divorce, all of those things can dip in your bucket. So that's a fairly profound thing, and we teach you how in spite of those things, you can still go through life proud, confident, and happy, i.e. having a full bucket.
And the symbols you use to communicate this to children are typically, and I see them on the table here, the bucket and the dipper. And those are symbolic of both your own capacity for changing somebody's life.
They are. Here's the full bucket, and it's full of happy thoughts, which are represented by the stars, and happy feelings, which are represented by the hearts. And a full bucket is happy. Now, an empty bucket is very sad. And we all have invisible buckets. Now, we also have invisible dippers. And some people like to use their dippers a lot and to dip into other people's buckets. And the amazing thing is this. Our dipper kind of automatically comes out when our buckets are empty. When we don't feel good about ourselves, children, when they lack attention, they tend to want to dip in this futile attempt to really fill their bucket. But you never really fill your bucket when you dip. Now, adults dip usually when they're stressed, when they're having not a good day, or they're worried about something. You lose your patience. You tend to snap at people. And that actually is dipping in someone's bucket. Now, logical consequences of not doing what you're supposed to do, that's not dipping. So in other words, if a parent, takes away a privilege from a child who didn't do something they're supposed to do, that's not dipping. That is an important part of teaching children, that there are consequences when you don't do your homework, when you don't clean your room, when you don't help. That's a good thing, and that's not dipping. And sometimes children will say, "You dipped in my bucket, Mom." And the truth is, no, you did not dip. The dipping was done by the child who didn't do something that they're supposed to do to help.
Because sometimes the best approach to discipline, it goes along with the idea of cause and effect.
Yes.
That there is a very cause and effect relationship to our behaviors and our relationships.
Very much it is.
Is there any other final comments you want to make about bucket filling or the assembly this morning?
Well, what I taught the children today, which is actually a pretty neat concept, that we want all children and all people to have full buckets. We will accomplish great things in this world if our buckets are full, because we're confident, we're happy, we know we have the wherewithal to do it. So if you want to have a full bucket in life, there's really 3 things you have to do. One, you have to be a bucket filler. You have to be kind and considerate to others and show that with the things you say and do. Be a bucket filler. 2, we have to eliminate some of the dipping, the negativity. It's contagious. And when we are critical or mean to others, that tends to evoke that same response in others. So we have to stop the dipping, or as much as we can, eliminate it. And 3rd, even though you're kind and you're not a dipper, sometimes we do need a lid on our bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked the children today, and a little kindergarten child knew exactly the reason. He had never heard it before. We need a lid on our bucket to protect our bucket from people who haven't learned how to be nice, from situations in life that dip in our bucket. We do need to protect our bucket because our bucket is special, just like all of us are special. And it works whether you're a young child or whether you're an adult, because adults have situations that can dip in their bucket. Someone can cut you off on the road, and it can actually end up ruining your day because you're upset that someone was thoughtless. And it is a very much of a coping mechanism to really keep a lid on your bucket and not let other people steal away your good thoughts and feelings. So I think the children, if they understand that, really can learn to deal with all situations in schools. And we give them the power to tell people, stop. That's not nice when you talk like that, and we don't do that at Forest Elementary. And it gives children the power to say that, and it teaches them to be kind and to also protect their own bucket from others. So I think it's actually very effective because it's such a simple idea. One thing to remember, be a bucket filler every day.